part of what we need to do is develop systems that are affordable. You know, and no knock against permaculture or any kind of farming. We just have to have that mindset that the goal, keep our eye on the goal. The goal is to be able to grow good food and be able to distribute that good food to everybody in our society, not just a group of folks that have a lot of funding, but to be able to figure out a way to get that good food for the health of that community. You know, that's where it's at. It's about improving people's health. It's about improving the economic development of that area, of that city, because that's the only way we're going to end crime. In areas where, you know, there are jobs, where there's good housing, where there's adequate food, we have low crime rates. It's no, like, miracle or you don't need to be a brain surgeon to figure that out. Well, as I look into the future, a couple major things just are out there that are realities. One is the fact, as we look toward 2050, when we're going to have 3.1 billion more people to feed, and we're really struggling to feed our populations around the world right now with good food, we need to figure out how to do it. So everybody kind of, whenever there's a food crisis or whatever, everybody kind of looks at the farmers, producers to come up with the answers. And that's not going to happen unless we have a lot of different folks sitting at the table in terms of not only farmers, but, you know, politicos and universities and corporations, and we need everybody, because everybody's involved in the food system and responsible for making sure that we all have good food, which is really about social justice. This whole thing is about making sure that everybody gets good food. And we can see what is happening in foreign countries as you see all the tension and all the wars that are going on around the world. It's really related to folks not having the basic needs in their lives. And the number one thing for me is food. We don't survive without food. So we lose millions of people around the world every year for lack of food or water. So it's a big issue. So, and the U.S. Have made claims in the past that we were going to grow enough food to feed the world. But we know that that didn't happen, and it's not happening, and it's got to be done, I believe, on a local level. So to make that happen, we have to start with a just farm bill. Every farm bill that comes up, small producers, sustainable producers are on the losing end of that. So that's what has to be changed. And the only way to change that, it's got to be done, like I said before, on multiple levels. It just can't be done in Washington, because us small farmers and producers can't compete with the big lobbies that are in D.C. But we have to be able to do something at that level. So my thing would be, for this next farm bill, is to be able to get some real representation in D.C., start working on that right now, to form a office that can go up on the Hill and state our case, to change the farm bill, to put more money into farmer training, because everybody wants this good food. Now we're finding that all these wholesalers want locally grown good food. Everybody, consumers want it. Every grocery store wants it. So to be able to do that, we've got to grow some farmers. I was just in Milan, Italy with the First Lady to visit the Milan Expo, and the American pavilion there has a vertical wall that's producing a tremendous amount of food. So we're going to have to be able to go vertically, to be able to build vertical farms in some cities where there's no horizontal land mass. So that can be done. We have on our plans at Growing Power to build the first real vertical farm in the world. So, you know, it's only 5 stories, but it'll be a template for larger, say 50, 100-story buildings that can feed hundreds of thousands of people. So we're going to have to be able to do that and look toward the future. That's why it's so important to pass on as much as we can to this next generation that really wants to be involved in the food system, but not necessarily in the traditional way that we farm. For example, I don't think young people want to be out when it's 30 degrees and we're digging 700,000 pounds of carrots out of the ground here in Wisconsin in the fall, in October. So that's not the kind of farming they really want to do. But I can see young people inside a building at 70 degrees operating an aquaponics system to grow food for the community. That is the kind of farming I think that young people would gravitate to, systems that they can create, be a part of creating. I think that's part of the future. So even though we have to continue to support us rural farmers, because that's the background that I come from, and other rural farmers like Joel Salatin and those folks that are training a lot of farmers in rural communities, we have to think about this high population of people that live in and around cities today, because that's where most of the world's population is moving.